Welcome back to the Mostly Legal Podcast, a show where we tell the stories of people who make law firms operate. I'm Amanda Copeless, Chief Operating Officer at Sheffield, Lohman & Wilson.
And I'm Rob Joyner, Senior Vice President of Business Development at Centerbase.
This week, we talk with Jessica Aries, founder and CEO of By Aries. She's a recovering lawyer who traded brief writing for brand building.
Jessica shares how a single brave LinkedIn post during the early days of COVID jump-started her agency, why LinkedIn should be a conversation, not a megaphone, and the 4 content pillars every attorney can use to stay visible without sounding salesy.
We also play LinkedIn Lawyer Bingo, run an AI or Die lightning round on practical AI workflows, and of course, finish with Pitch Your Passion, where Jessica makes the case for AI-enabled marketing teams and custom GPTs that actually make sense and save time.
So get ready to create better hooks, use smarter metrics, and conduct more authentic business development. Let's go.
All right. So, Jessica, welcome to the show. We don't do a whole lot of reading of bios here, but I will just give a very brief introduction. Jessica Aries is the CEO, is that right, of By Aries, which is a digital marketing agency that she founded during COVID. And we're going to have her start by kind of telling her a little bit of her origin story. She's also a recovering lawyer, but we do not hold that against people here on the Mostly Legal Podcast. So tell us a little bit about where you got started, how you got into the legal industry, and where you are, where you are now.
Well, I always wanted to be a lawyer. We can see how well that worked out. Went to law school, got not 1 but 2 law degrees because what's money?
2 law degrees.
Wait, what are the 2 degrees?
Yeah, I have a JD and an LLM. So my LLM is in IT and privacy law. So
okay.
Yeah, I think when I graduated, it was like one of 24 people in the country that had that master's and didn't use it at all. So it's kind of funny to
What's the number of people who didn't use it at all?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it's funny. I look at our class, and many of them are now CIOs or something totally different than legal. So I laugh. I guess we all just ended up somehow in tech or in other. I ended up in digital marketing. So, but from there, I honestly as I was practicing, I kept wanting to do all the marketing. I wanted to go write the blog content. I wanted to be out in front and center and go to all the events and network and build relationships with people. They're like, no, you're supposed to be practicing law. And I'm like, but wait, this seems way more fun. And that's when I realized maybe I chose the wrong path. And that's kind of how I got into marketing. I was writing for a legal blog at the time. It's now gone and defunct, but we had won an ABA top legal blog award or whatever, what it was called at the time, the ABA top legal blogs. And I had learned a lot about SEO, and I had learned a lot about promoting content and content marketing in general from that. And I was like, well, I wonder if I could translate that into working in a law firm. And so basically I applied to some marketing jobs and was like, here's my background. Here's, I actually had metrics and performance because I was trying to learn how to write better so I could write for a legal audience. And so I could show that and say, hey, you want to take a chance on me? And the first firm that did, that's how it kind of all started. And I got into marketing that way. So the rest
Jessica,
is
you mentioned right before we jumped on the timing of all this too,
yes.
which I think is incredible. And what was going on in your life? Talk about that some.
Yeah. So I worked in-house in a law firm, in marketing departments. I got promoted really quickly. I went from a marketing coordinator to an executive director in 6 years. So, which is crazy. Yeah. I went from marketing manager, took a step back, marketing coordinator, then marketing manager, marketing director, and then eventually was promoted into an executive director role where I got to see all of the world.
Who would want that job? Jeez. You think being a lawyer is bad?
I actually loved it. I learned a ton. My firm invested a lot in teaching me finance, teaching me leadership skills, teaching me management. I learned a ton, and it actually, in a weird way, set me up to launch my agency, which happened in the pandemic. I literally was pregnant, had a baby, came back from maternity leave, and 2 weeks later, the world shut down, full on COVID. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so, of course, our firm, we sent everyone home because, it's supposed to be just 2 weeks, guys, 2 weeks at home, right?
Yeah.
We all thought that. And meanwhile, while I'm at home, working from home and things like that, I get a call from the managing partner, and he's like, I'm so sorry. We're going to have to furlough people. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. This seems like it's going to be longer than 2 weeks. And your name's one of the short names on the list of people to furlough. And I'm like, okay, cool. So at that point, I was a little bit in panic mode because I have, just came back, was starting to really get my groove going. And I've been back at the firm about, I don't know, I want to say like 8 weeks at that point. And then bam, it was like being furloughed. And I was like, well, I got to figure out how to make money somehow. So I went on LinkedIn and I wrote this post that now I guess we would call is viral in our industry. And it basically was a picture of my headshot, and it put like in big bold letters like COVID job seeker, and at the very bottom I just talked about all of my digital marketing skills, and I basically framed it as a story like the world is shutting down. Many of us have networked traditionally in the past. You're going to need to network differently now because of COVID. So if you want to work with me, I know how to do it. I know how to build those relationships. I know how to help you basically cultivate a content marketing strategy for yourself digitally. Let's work together. And I had 9 clients by the end of that post.
That's incredible.
And this is before they had like the open to work badge,
Yes.
right? Like
Yeah,
this was kind of
yeah.
the impetus of that type of thing.
I remember writing that LinkedIn post and being like, this is either going to tank my career or it's going to be like the most brilliant thing I've ever done in my life. And I want to say it worked out well. So,
Jessica,
Well, being an
did you
entrepreneur-
plan to stay? Sorry, did you plan to stay out on your own? Or was this like, hey, I'm just trying to make some money. Here's
just
what I
trying to
can
make
do and
some
help.
money. Just
Yeah.
trying to make
Wow.
some money, just try to figure this out. I did not expect to have the response I did. Like, I thought, oh, maybe I'll get like 1 or 2 gigs, on the side just to kind of like help with unemployment. Like, I honestly didn't expect much out of it. I was just trying to honestly keep a little bit of income coming in. And I knew some people already, some firms were already like rethinking kind of their structures just because I had heard through the grapevine. Because again, building your network before you need it. I had some friends who were already telling me like things are changing up in our firms. You're not the only one being furloughed. You're not the only one putting, but we still have all this work that we have to do from a marketing perspective, and we don't know who's going to do it. So we're going to outsource it to agencies and things like that. And I was like, well, maybe I could be one of those, on the side people that they hired to help. And that's kind of how it all came to be. It's crazy.
So 5 years,
That's a
you've
great
got
story.
a staff, you've 5 people working for you now,
I have
right?
9. I have 9 people.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
I got my numbers backwards.
No,
9
you're
people,
yeah,
5
9
years, and
people.
today you dropped your daughter off at kindergarten for the first time.
Yes, and she was literally a baby when that happened. So it's like such a weird.
Wow.
Every year she ages, it's like the agency ages, and I also feel like I evolve as like a leader, right? Like, because it's new challenges every year. It's different. In the beginning it was just get enough money to survive, and then it was like, oh, now I need to hire someone because I have too much work. Oh my gosh, how do I hire people again? Oh wait, I did this. I know how to do this. It was like refreshing a lot of those skills, and then oh gosh, now we need to market more because things are changing or whatever. We need to change our own strategy. So every year I feel like we're growing in new ways. And now with AI, it's like a whole nother world of new stuff. So it's crazy. It's
You
really fun.
also started kind of teaching the revolution of LinkedIn for lawyers really before a lot of other people did, right? That was where you were, doing seminars on that and educating on that. And so this is not on our question list, but can you tell me a little bit about how LinkedIn has changed and how your recommendation has changed over the 5 years that you've been doing this agency?
Yeah, well, actually, I used to teach workshops on LinkedIn when I was in-house as a marketer, to my own lawyers. And it was a lot of just, please reshare our firm content, right? Like, it wasn't a lot of like, create your own story, your own personal brand. It was a lot more of the, please just reshare what our marketing team is putting together because we spend a lot of time on it and we want someone to see it. And at the time, the algorithm, and still to this day, the algorithm doesn't really prioritize LinkedIn company page content. So we could get an attorney to reshare something that really helped. Now it feels like LinkedIn is a whole different beast, especially with like Twitter's downfall. A lot of the thought leadership that was on X, Twitter, has moved to LinkedIn, and the conversation has really shifted. It's a lot more about insight, adding value, giving a perspective on things. Now, I always tell my lawyers, like, you never want to come down on one side or the other on a legal issue, but you can give different perspectives. Like, some clients might approach it this way, others might approach it this way. You can provide the pros and cons of those different approaches. You can give different insight that's not just, let me reshare this client alert. Here's my client alert, right? Like, I'm so sick of those. Here's my client alert. Read here. And it's like, no, tell me why I should read. Tell me why I should click. Time is money, right? Like, and lawyers should know that better than anybody. Yet they still write LinkedIn posts that are like, read my client alert. And I'm like, no.
And now they have reels. Now they have reels. And so now my kids are trolling me relentlessly because it goes from TikTok to Instagram to Facebook to finally LinkedIn. So by the time I've seen it, it's 4 years old.
Everybody on LinkedIn's doing those, like, here's what my morning routine looks like.
Oh, get ready with me.
It's odd. Well, Amanda, I know what your morning routine looks like. I see it. You walk the dog every morning. I know.
You're ready with me to have my soul sucked out of my body from.
Well, and I think that's too, like, we were one of the first firms that were doing TikTok marketing for law firms. And it's funny because we steal those trends and then post them on Instagram. And then like 3 weeks later, we can post them on LinkedIn and they're like, they do really well, like for the lawyers we have that's appropriate, right? Like, we're like, hey, go eat a sandwich and talk about this, right? Like, or hey, here's this, trending sound that if you want to use it in a funny way with this legal issue, you could, right? Now, not all of them are on board for that. So you kind of have to find the lawyers willing to do that. But yeah.
Oh. Jessica, so Amanda and I go around and do roundtables around the country. And one of the topics that comes up that we talk about a lot is business development. How do you really create that next generation of rainmakers? And some of it goes into marketing and content, brand, building their client list, all that. Along those lines, how do you get attorneys to start posting and creating that content?
Well, I think it's like anything with lawyers. You work with the willing first. You get your superstars, right? You tell them, look how amazing they're doing, and a rising tide lifts all boats, right? Like those people who start doing the work, those people who start getting results, you use them as your use cases. You show them off as your trophies. You say, look how great so-and-so is doing. You could have this too if you were willing to try as well, right? Now, the difference between those lawyers that are successful and those that aren't is the consistency, the willingness to consistently commit to something. The nice thing about social media is it can be a lower lift than something like a podcast like this, right? Like the amount of time you all are putting into this, it's a lift, right? A big lift. And so I like to say, before you have your lawyer go launch a podcast, before you have them go launch a full like YouTube channel or something like that, have them do LinkedIn. It's a micro commit, like it's a micro piece of content that can have real impact, and you can have them put it out in a series, and you can actually test if they can, one, stay consistent, and two, if that content actually resonates with their clients. So it's a great, I think, micro way to kind of build relationships and get content out there and test if it's actually going to be effective.
When you do that, Jessica, and when you talk to these firms about doing that and the attorneys, what do you give them as success metrics, right? You're talking about obviously consistency in the output. That's a success metric if they consistently do it. But what should they look for in return?
Yeah, so I've had lawyers do as crazy of results as like 6xing their book of business by being consistent. Like it's crazy. Wow. Yeah. I've had others that, it's more about building relationships, getting new opportunities to like serve on boards or get speaking opportunities or even get like podcast invitations. It's being in front of the right audience at the right time. So I always tell them, it really depends on what that lawyer is trying to achieve with LinkedIn. I say those that are going to get like that 6xing their book of business, that's going to come from engagement. That's going to come from commenting on other people's posts, making sure you're in front of your clients at the right time, making sure you're not letting that next promotion that happens at your client's company, right, not go unnoticed. Like you're actually reaching out at that time. You're using it for client intelligence, not just for, hey, I'm posting, right? Some people use LinkedIn like a megaphone, and I say you should really use it as a conversation tool, right? It's social media is meant to be social. That means a two-way interaction. It means having conversations and creating micro touch points in between those times when you don't actually see your client in person. So I think the success metrics is really understanding, what does views really mean? Views and eyeballs aren't the same thing as views and eyeballs with the right clients and the right people, right? The right audience. So I like to say, yeah, you can have 30,000 followers, but is it 30,000 followers of the right types of people that you want to be connected with? And I think that's far more valuable than having a huge follower list. And that's what I try to say.
I've seen a few professionals lately get in the engagement pods. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's terrible.
Yeah. You're just talking to the same people over and over. Like what's the point of that, right? The whole idea is to build your network, right? And I think that's also partly, I come from the world where my network built my business, right? I know what it actually takes to build your business through your network. And it takes engaging with a bunch of different people and being authentic and being real, and not just being about what you're going to get out of it, but also giving something in return. Basic business development principles, but done in an online world.
And it takes time.
Oh, yes.
I think that's the one thing that people forget about.
Oh, yeah. I had someone reach out to me and say, can you get me these results in 3 months? And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not, that's not the type of marketer I am. You know, like I'm the type of marketer where you build those relationships with that person authentically in a genuine way, right? Like, you don't hard sell them, right? You talk to them, you engage with them, you have conversations, and then they'll tell you when you've built trust, hey, this thing is happening. Do you have any advice? You know, or hey, I'd like to bring you in on this project because I think you could help, right? It's about building trust.
But the hard sell, like, it wears me out. So like if somebody requests to connect with me on LinkedIn and I click their link and their title says business development, account exec, blah, 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 all those fancy words for salespeople, I do not accept, because so many of them immediately follow up. Thanks for connecting. Here's my sales pitch. When can we get coffee? And it's like, no, none of those times. And what you have done is over time, the bad have alienated the good. Rob is literally the only salesperson I've ever liked, and that's because he wore me down after the 6 years we have been friends. But it is exhausting. So you talk about like lawyers, like what lawyers should do, but just in general business development, this applies across the board, right? Just because someone connects with you, do not immediately start. That isn't the start of your sales relationship. That's my opinion.
I'm in 100% agreement. And I also think, having been in legal marketing for 15 years, like, the people who circle back to become my clients are people I've been friends with sometimes 10, 12 years. You know, like it's more about, I more think it's about being a genuine contributing member to our community, being actively engaged, being part of the community, advocating for the community. And then, they'll see your values, they'll see what you stand for, they'll see the way you do business, and they'll want to work with you for that. Like, I'm
right. If you're sharing the right content and your quality, I will see what you do and will know it. I do not need you to tell me. Rob, tell me why I'm wrong.
No, I was thinking about what you were saying, and how if a salesperson connects with you, or tries to, you don't want to connect with them. And that's usually because they have some kind of auto message going out after that, thanking you for connecting. And then they have a drip that's set up that then says, hey, they ask you a question, they try to sell to you. Amanda, I actually, it's a good point, and maybe this applies to attorneys too, but for me, it's like, what content you put out there. That new person, I just connected with Amanda. She's going to see my content and see who I am. And she's going to understand me as a person before she connects with me on a product level or a solution level. Jessica, what do you think, when you're looking at a mix of content? I had this conversation with somebody in legal the other day, the difference between what I'll call personal content, business content, and like maybe there's other categories too. What are those, and how do you mix them?
Yeah, so I think there's 4 content kind of pillars. That's what I call them, or themes, depending on, are you coming from the lawyer role or are you coming from the marketer role? I tend to think that it looks like this: content that promotes services. So some piece of content that's going to talk about what you do, but I really think it has to be value add service content. Content that promotes wins and awards, that stuff that, like, hey, I'm honored to receive this award.
We're coming back to that later.
We're coming back to that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Or recognition, right? The type of recognition that establishes credibility in the industry. Then there's the types of content that builds, strategic relationships, referral sources. It's content that serves other people in your industry who can refer you business. And then finally, I think there's content that's kind of personal branded related. But I often get asked, like, how personal is too personal on LinkedIn? And I like to say there's a spectrum, right? Like, if your content is just rants about, things that only you care about, or political, religious, those topics that are, honestly, we all know in business are taboo, right?
Yeah.
Like, keep that off LinkedIn.
You would think.
Keep that off LinkedIn and reestablish your brand around pillars, more business professionals can get behind, right? Like leadership, I even say things like, if you're a woman lawyer, maybe it's talking about the path to partnership as a female lawyer, right? Like it's those types of conversations, or mentorship, right? How you're mentoring the next generation of lawyers. I work with a lawyer who's a patent attorney who talks a lot. He's on the board of regents for a major university, and he talks a lot about how the university is investing in the next generation of technologists and lawyers, right? Like that kind of work, like talking about his board serviceship is a part of his personal brand. And it creates really compelling and interesting content because it's not something all lawyers have expertise in. It's not something his whole network has expertise in. Yet he's built a great network around his board leadership on that university and is able to talk about it in a really interesting way. And he gets others to engage with it and people to discover him around that personal brand topic that they normally wouldn't find him for his services or what he does. And they want to work with him because of that.
That's awesome. All right, let's geek out a little bit. This is going to be Rob's favorite portion of the show. We talk about LinkedIn for lawyers, but one of the things when we did your pre-call that really made you like light up is talking about using AI marketing in LinkedIn. And when you talk to lawyers about it, like how are you getting them excited? How are you sharing that infectious, gleam about it, especially when we have these older generation. I don't like to say older, but because I'm older now, but you know what I mean? Like they're barely Googling. So
yeah, I think it's reminding them that we've been here before, right? Social media used to be something when I would talk about social media for lawyers, people would like the older lawyers and they're the more senior, or as we say in marketing, seasoned lawyers would roll.
We say that as leadership also.
like a chicken breast, nicely seasoned. Like those lawyers. Sorry, I love to crack jokes because I laugh at how marketing, we're always trying to spin it.
Yes. Yes.
Amanda, didn't you say frail? Is that the word you use?
Okay, now let's go.
How more seasoned lawyers were really skeptical of it, right? Like, and I literally just got an invitation to come speak at a law firm all about the ethics of professional responsibility in social media. And I'm like, we're still talking about this? We're still talking about this. So, we've been here before with social media in the sense of people being skeptical around a technology that has literally changed the way we interact with our clients, the way we, promote thought leadership, the way we talk about ourselves. AI to me is that next kind of frontier, but I think it's much more transformational. It's kind of like, I heard a great podcast where someone compared it to electricity. Instead of asking like, what can I do with AI? What can I do with electricity? You should be saying, oh, there's a million things you could do with electricity, right? That's just a silly question, right? The use cases around AI. I think for lawyers, it's showing them how much faster it can make them, showing them how things that used to take them like a post might take them an hour to write because like me, they're legally trained and we are quite neurotic about, punctuation and the right word choice, showing them how AI can get them a first draft much faster, allow them to edit much faster, allow them to even outline their ideas and even be a thought partner in the conversation with them. Like, what am I missing in this idea or this argument I want to make? And I think that's where it can be really transformative in how they practice law and how they promote themselves online.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Centerbase, legal practice and management software designed to deliver optimal efficiency, profitability, and business growth for your mid-sized law firm. Learn more about how Centerbase helps you practice, manage, and grow your law firm with modern technology at centerbase.com.
Jessica, what's that workflow for an attorney? It's really hard if you put 30 minutes on your calendar in the morning to say, hey, I'm going to come up with a post, I'm going to go ahead and create that. How can they use AI? How can they, maybe jot down notes throughout maybe they're taking a walk, right, on something they want to post about? What does that workflow look like and how do they use AI to do it?
Well, first of all, I always say lawyers should have content themes or content pillars, that they shouldn't just be opening their browser to write something, like unless it's like a thought that comes to mind right in that moment. It's like, oh, this is a spark of brilliance. I'm going to note this down in my notes app or something like that on my phone, right? But in general, I think they should follow some content themes and have those laid out so they know what they're supposed to be posting each week, that they're not necessarily every post isn't a look at my award I won, that there is some diversity in the topics. But I think when it comes to AI, when that stroke of brilliance comes across, you're like, I want to write about this, but I'm not quite sure how I want to frame it, or I want different messaging points to see how, or even I want to build, an AI that reviews my content to tell me if this would resonate with my clients, right? Like having a workflow in place to say, okay, what am I trying to achieve with this piece of content? Is it meant to educate? Is it meant to nurture, build relationships with clients? Is it meant to convert people? Like, what is the goal of this piece of content? And then actually sitting down and having AI help you write it by prompting it and saying, hey, I want to write on this topic. My goal is this. Here's my audience, right? I think having an ICP, a clear ICP, is really important. I say that. Most lawyers' eyes glaze over when I say that.
I was about to say,
That's
okay,
just
define what an
knowing
ICP is.
who your audience is, so you're not writing content that does not resonate. That's really, I think, super important, to knowing who your audience is, who you're trying to get this piece of content to resonate with, because there's lots of lawyers who write for themselves and it shows. It's boring. It's only interesting to them. It's not, sorry. my phone is going off. I was trying to do not disturb it. So there's a lot of lawyers who love to write for themselves and it shows. It's boring. It doesn't resonate with their audience. It doesn't connect because it's written for them. It's because they really care about this nuanced piece of area of the law, or it's written in a way that is not accessible. It's very legalese heavy. And so I think having AI audit your work and ask you, can this be read by a normal human being, right? Will this
With the 10th
resonate?
grade reading level, because you can do that
Yes,
too.
you can ask it to evaluate reading level. You can ask it to evaluate even your hook, the very first sentence. I always tell lawyers, very first sentence of your LinkedIn post really matters. It's what captures people's attentions and keeps them from scrolling past your content. So
Rob is really good at that. He will literally send me a text, take your post down and repost it with a better hook. I'm like, okay, great. Well, thanks. It's 5
I
a.m.
always say the purpose of a sentence is to get you to read the next sentence.
Yes.
Right.
Well, but you know what? We've been taught that for our whole lives, right? We were taught that in fiction writing when we were in high school. We've been taught that in our college essays. Like that writing that first sentence has always been taught. It's like the first sentence of a book. I mean, I can name so many books just by their first sentence. So I think it's that same. That's not a new philosophy based on social media or LinkedIn. This is just writing in general.
Hook somebody to stop scrolling, add value, close it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's really simple.
Well, you say it's really simple, but if it was really simple, everyone would do it.
Yeah, I mean, I still see those posts that are 1,000 hashtags and no content.
Okay, are hashtags dead? Are hashtags dead?
So they're becoming less important because AI is now scanning a lot of the content. Like if you look at, which y'all probably don't read LinkedIn's developer blog like I do every week, but
It's the first thing I open up every morning.
But if you read the LinkedIn's developer blog, you're realizing they're using AI and natural language models, right, to interpret what the content is, to not only rate it from like a spam perspective, but also like, should this go viral? Should this be pushed out to more people? So hashtags are becoming less relevant. Some people still follow them. So there is some, like, for example, especially around events where you're going to
that's what I was wondering specifically is like when we have an ALA conference, we always have a specific hashtag. And when I use it, I do see a bunch of stuff, but it is relevant in that time because I can see people who are there. I can see this, I can see that. It's trying to, I guess, push that algorithm harder.
Cool. And LinkedIn recently updated their algorithm where I don't know if y'all have noticed, but if you scroll through, you're now seeing stuff from like 2 weeks ago. It's not necessarily like timely. So if you were using the hashtag, that ensures that someone can type in the hashtag and search for that content in the moment, right? And see what people are actively posting.
But it's one or two, it's one, right? We're not talking about the 500 hashtag blessed, hashtag.
I was going to say hashtag motivational.
Hashtag humbled.
Yes.
Hashtag lawyer.
Well, and I say like 5 or less, and even 5 is a lot to me. Like to me, it should be pretty focused. It should be, and you should also make sure if you're going to use a hashtag, it's something people are actually following. Like it cracks me up people who hashtag smile, hashtag winning. Like I'm like, is your ideal client following hashtag winning? Like really? Like that's
And put them at the bottom. Don't like hashtag throughout because you're tagging people hashtagging throughout. You can't even read it, right? It has to be readable. Jessica, I want to kind of circle back to what you were saying just a second ago, and you were kind of walking through how to use AI to build a post. But if I'm a, whatever word we decided on, seasoned attorney, and I'm sitting there and I just listened to what you were saying, I'm still like, so what do I do? Like, break it down. What do I open? What do I type in? Mm-hmm. What do I do? Yeah.
I think the first thing you do is you have to have your login credentials. Can't tell you how many lawyers I've coached on LinkedIn who come
Your
and show
LinkedIn
up.
login credentials,
Your LinkedIn
right?
login credentials are
Yes.
important. So go grab
Yes.
those. That's step one. Have those.
You can use the forgot password button. The marketing team doesn't have your password.
Oh, I've reset many a passwords on LinkedIn coaching sessions that firms have paid quite a bit of money for. I'm like, okay, all right, this is where we're starting. So have your password, have your login credentials. And I think the first thing to ask yourself before you write any kind of piece of content is to say, what is my goal for this piece of content and who am I trying to reach in it? And then actually sit down and say, okay, what am I trying to share? Is it that I attended a conference? Is it that, I have some new client alert that I want to promote? Is it that I'm being honored or awarded for something? And I want to explain the significance of this to my clients who may not be familiar with this award or or recognition. And then actually crafting the piece of content, I think starts with just going to AI and asking it to tell it, I'm trying to craft a post around
What are
this
we
topic.
opening, Jessica? What are we opening? What AI?
So there's several. I personally am a Chat GPT fan, but I know you like Claude.
Perfect.
So Claude, Chat GPT, there's Gemini, there's, Copilot. I don't know that I would recommend Copilot personally. I have not been very impressed with using it lately. But I'm a Chat GPT person. So I would open Chat GPT. I'd actually type in prompt into Chat GPT and I'd say, I am a lawyer looking to target this audience. I am looking to craft a social media post for this purpose, right? Here's what I'm looking to promote. Can you help me basically write a post? I usually give the AI direction as to what role it's supposed to play though too. Like I'll tell it, you're a social media marketer, you're a whatever. So it knows the role it's supposed to play. I give it as much context as I can. I'm a big believer in context prompting, meaning adding more. So if you can give it samples of posts that performed well for you in the past, if you can copy and paste writing that you've done in the past that sounds like your voice, you're going to get a much better output than going cold into a ChatGPT or a Claude because it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know your voice. And it's going to write something that's probably has a lot of emojis at first until you kind of work with it to show it, hey, I don't need 9 emojis in this post, right? Yes, this is for social media, but it's for LinkedIn and professional, legal services.
Do you need to thank ChatGPT and ask it, please?
I don't. I have colleagues who tell me one day when the robots take over, that ChatGPT is going to remember that they thank them. So one of my content writer tells me
I
that.
go the other direction sometimes. I get really angry.
Well, that's the thing you have to be careful for because LinkedIn will totally tell you you're great when you're not. I'm not LinkedIn, sorry. ChatGPT will tell you you're great when you're not. Like I have to tell it, be brutally honest. Does this resonate? Is this something that's going to reflect well? Because it loves to like align with you even when you're not really making good choices on AI. So you got to be careful.
Are there certain, you mentioned emojis, like are there certain characters that you want to avoid so it doesn't look like you're having AI write your post or structures?
Yeah, the rocket ship, that's like
that's a Debbie Fosterism right there. She's like, if you have M dashes and rocket ships, I know that it was written by
rocket ships and the red alert, like the shiny red alert. Like I feel like it loves to be like, hey, lawyers, and like, or like, hey, whatever, and use the red alert kind of symbol. I feel like those are like dead giveaways. I also think there's certain words it loves to use, so you got to be careful. You should also, though, make sure when you are providing context, you know how you write because it will try to reflect how you write. And if I tend to use the word navigating a lot, and I used to think that was AI, just like giving me navigating all the time. I was like, oh, AI, that's like the first sign of AI navigating. And then I realized I like went and looked through all my writing. I'm like, dang, I really like that word. I've used it like 12 times in the last so sometimes you think it's a sign of AI and it's actually just a sign of you and the way you write. So be aware of that. But yeah, M dashes are great. I also think it loves to do the like 3-word combos, like, look, stop, listen. I did that wrong.
Yeah.
Stop, look, and listen, right?
Yeah, yes.
So I think that's...
And it loves the Oxford comma, which I also love, but I'm an Oxford comma fan. Okay, so we talked a little bit. Let's go just a little more technical about what a custom GPT is.
Oh, yes.
And what one actually looks like for a law firm. Paint us a picture. Tell us something you've built, but break it down for those of us, me, who don't know what this is and what it's doing.
So a custom GPT to me makes the most sense when, especially, and I come from the marketing world, so I'll use a marketing example. When a marketing department is doing a task over and over and over and it follows a certain structure, and you feel like you're reusing that prompt over and over to write something or to help you achieve a certain output. And so the best example I can use is like if you're writing a press release and you follow the same format for your press releases for every single one. You have, the headline, and then you have some, blurb about what the press release is about. And then at the very end, you have the same footer text every single time about your firm.
Yep.
That's a perfect example of you can create a custom GPT that will basically follow the instructions that every time you go to it, it'll output a press release for you with just whatever information you input. You don't even have to prompt it. The prompt is already built into the custom GPT. And how you set that up is the way I like to have my custom GPT set up is I now ask AI to build them for me. So I'll actually tell ChatGPT, I'm looking to build a custom GPT to achieve this task. Here's my prompt that I've used over and over and over. Adapt this to build me a custom GPT. And it will build a custom GPT. It'll give you the exact, prompt and everything. You take that over. You copy and paste that into your custom GPT instructions. You name your custom GPT, and then you tell it what knowledge and sources it has access to. Because I don't know if you've heard this, but AI likes to hallucinate. So, so if you give it certain knowledge resources and tell it, hey, this is what you have access to. This is what you should pull from. Maybe it's brochures on your firm. Maybe it's, experience. Maybe it's industry brochures, whatever it is that relates to that particular press release or that particular style, even a style guide, brand guidelines, things like that can be really helpful. Upload those into the knowledge base, and then you can turn off all the search the web, and you can have it just access that so that it's pulling information from that. Or if you still want it to access the web, you can have the custom GPT access the web. Generally, I like to turn it off unless it's something where I need it to access the web, like a research prompt or something like that, where it needs to pull a lot of data together. And then you test it. That's the most important part, I think. Most people will build them and they don't test it to make sure it actually achieves the outcome that they want it to. So then you test it. And once you've made sure it works, then you launch it. And it becomes something that you can access, your team can access. If y'all have a ChatGPT Teams account, everyone on your team can access it. So I've built a few, I made a copy of myself. I uploaded a bunch of my general sayings and things about myself and a bunch of my writing. And I told my team, instead of asking me that question of how you should format that post, just go ask my GPT. And they do.
Oh my gosh.
So,
We've done something similar internally for some of the support functions for the sales team.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
it works
smart.
pretty well.
That's smart.
If you're going to use the web access, I think we all know this by now, at least in legal writing, but ask it for its sources and actually track down those sources and look at those sources, because it hallucinates quite a bit when you ask it to pull relevant, data or facts, I find, in the content.
yeah.
Okay, let's do one more personal, and then I want to move into the fun part we have prepped for you.
Amanda's just pushing us today. We're
Well,
having
I'm not
fun,
trying
Amanda.
to push us.
That's my role.
Maybe I'm over speaking with you today.
Oh.
Okay, so let's go back to your own personal setback and, what was going through your head and all that stuff. But then how do you take that and then help lawyers reframe professional setbacks that they may have, like getting fired, losing cases, getting rejected for partnership? How do you help them reframe that instead of hiding and going away and,
Well, lawyers have notoriously low resilience. So I think a lot of that is reminding them that, I have experienced that myself, having empathy for them in those moments, I think can really help. But I think helping realign them and take them out of the emotions and reminding them that there's a process to this, right? And you're not going to win every one, right? This isn't law school where everyone's competing to get the A, right? This is sometimes there will be instances where you will lose, you will not be selected to be the lawyer. And that's okay. That's part of sales. That's part of marketing yourself. And basically, this is kind of harsh, but I'm going to suck it up, buttercup, right? This is the name of the game, right? And I'm pretty blunt with my clients. And I hope they appreciate that. They're still with me. So I think that says something. But I think I also, because I've built it, I've done it myself, right? I'm not a marketer on their and I'm not saying that this is something wrong with marketing teams, but I'm not a marketer on their marketing department who has never actually fished. Like I fish myself regularly. I put myself out there regularly, and I try to remind them this works. It is successful, but it does take being okay with a bit of rejection, a bit of failure, and a bit of understanding that marketing is all about test, test, fail, testing different ideas, failing sometimes, rebuilding and creating something new from that and testing again. So I think a lot of it is reminding them of that, but then also helping them be prepared for success, meaning setting them up to have the right tools and resources to be the most successful, because I've already built it. I've already done it, right? I know what works. So it's showing them that and also reminding them that small setbacks are small setbacks, but big wins are big wins, right? And usually they get big wins out of all of it if they're staying consistent. And also reminding them that a lot of other lawyers won't do it. They won't put in the time, the effort to do it. Mm-hmm. So if they're the ones who are doing it, they're the ones staying visible. They're the ones engaging with their clients, making those touch points. Who is their client going to remember at the end of the day? Who is that prospect going to remember? It's the client. It's the lawyer who's consistently being there, authentically showing up, engaging with them in a meaningful way, sharing insight, sharing value. So,
okay, I want to move into some fun segments.
Okay.
We're going to do two real quick. We're going to start with LinkedIn Lawyer Bingo. And this is courtesy of AI, right? And so the way this works, Jessica, is we've created a bingo card with some of the most cringeworthy LinkedIn lawyer behaviors. And you have to tell us, let's just say, I know this isn't bingo, but you have to tell us the two that just make you, as AI put it, die inside. And share the horror stories behind them. All right?
Oh,
that's where we're going today.
Am I calling out a lawyer for this, or are we?
You don't have to use names, but you can if you want to.
Okay.
And I have a few, I don't know how many, I'm not going to count, but I have a few that I'm going to go through, and then you pick two of these. You ready?
Okay. Two that make me die inside. All right. Whew.
Here's the first one. Humbled to announce, ... Bathroom mirror selfie with legal advice. 47 paragraph humble brag about a settlement. Thoughts, in quotes with a question mark, with no actual thoughts. Stock photo of a handshake with a motivational quote.
Or the scales of justice.
Stop it. You can't sway her. I almost did myself. Okay. Stock photo. Oh, that's one I just read. I normally don't post about this, but ...
No.
LinkedIn graduation photo from 1987. This will probably get me in trouble, but ... And the last one, posting a photo of their law degree again. Pick two.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, the humbled and honored one, like humbled, that's literally awful. And then obviously like scales of justice or handshake or like, I can't tell you how, like literally we're redoing our website right now and our developer sent us a design and I'm like, what are all these handshakes? Like get all of like, no, like that is, I think a telltale sign of bad, I don't know, brand design, bad visual concepts. Yeah. So yeah, no. And I mean, and I understand, this is also what I understand. A lawyer's trying to follow the best practice of adding a photo, but the photo shouldn't be a generic stock photo, right? It shouldn't be a bunch of law books. It shouldn't look like it belongs on a billboard, especially if you're a B2B lawyer. Like, come on, like, and also the skyscrapers. I'm pretty over skyscrapers. Like, it's just,
no, Rob. No. I know what he's going to say.
Oh, man. Okay. No. I won't go there. All right. That was a fun one. Let's go in. Now, Amanda, if you want to help with this one.
She gets a bonus question. She gets to add a square to our bingo card if she would like.
Okay, fine.
Well, so
then I'm going to go to the next one after that.
Okay. I was going to say, I polled my audience on which were the worst. Okay. Plenty of them said that I'm honored, but the one that also really annoyed them was the personal story to hard sell. Like I was on vacation with my kids this week and then buy my legal services, right? Like that, like at the very end, right? Like that really drove them nuts. I also thought it was interesting. I had a few people list in the comments that they really hated emojis. Someone said, it's not a comic book. Like your LinkedIn shouldn't be a comic book. So I was like, oh, and then, your selfies one also got added to my comment section, but I gave it like a poll. So, But yeah, I often get asked, especially I feel like CMOs, C-suite will reach out to me and be like, what do I do about this lawyer's post? And it's usually like the 12,000 hashtags or the like wall of legalese that no one's going to read, right? They're like, how do I coach them? And I'm like, tell them no. Like, just like take away their
Change their
credential.
password.
Yeah, change their password. They won't know how to reset it anyways.
All right.
Well, we appreciate you doing the research because I think you're
We do
you're
appreciate
the first that's ever come with some research, even though we don't give the questions out ahead of time.
Yeah.
I know we need to keep moving, Amanda. Because
Well, I was going to ask about the awards. You posted about this today. Like, I'm going on your LinkedIn page. I'm like, okay, I just got to remember this couple things today. How to post that I'm a super lawyer, a legal elite, best lawyer, blah, 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 blah. How? Because I approve those press releases. I've got one in my inbox that needs to be approved. I guess it's releasing in September. How do you do it?
Nobody cares. No, like that's the like if you ask yourself so what and you can't respond, like nobody cares. Like the way you need to talk about, if you're going to talk about an award or recognition, right, it needs to be framed from the client perspective. It needs to add value. It needs to talk about how, you know, it's a specific industry award or something like that, right? And we've represented more of this type of client than anyone else, and thus, you know, we received this award, and that type of industry focus has given us the ability to represent our clients better, right? I just don't think anyone cares about, super lawyers, best lawyer. Like, I just don't think they care.
I dare say this and bring us back to like print, but it's almost like you have to tell a story that you would read in a magazine, right?
Mm-hmm. Or write a
I know
fictional
social media. Yeah.
story about. Yeah. All right. What was the next game we were going to play? I forgot.
Oh my God, the lightning round. We're almost out of time, Amanda.
Oh, the lightning round. Okay.
Lightning round.
Hey, this is called AI or Die.
Oh my gosh. What's with all the die reference? What is a morbid podcast?
Why is
custom
AI so
this custom project that I created in Claude, I need to retrain it and get away from death.
I think it needs some help.
Claude really doesn't want to work with
coaching.
you. They don't really want to work with you anymore.
No, probably not. Okay, but we digress. Let's go.
Okay.
Amanda, you first.
Best AI tool lawyers should start with tomorrow.
Ooh, ChatGPT, just start learning it. I actually truly believe that the lawyers who are going to be the next generation of rainmakers are going to master AI. They are going to be the people who are leveraging the data sets that law firms have to slice and dice the data and better understand their clients and target them and build relationships that aren't going to require club memberships, aren't going to require like that deep kind of relationship networking, the pedigree type of networking that has been very important to building those relationships. I don't think that's the future of legal. I think we're going to shift in a major way towards lawyers who are able to access the data, prompt the data, and get better insight that way.
Okay, an AI task that lawyers think is scary, but it's actually quite boring.
Scary. Oh, I think they honestly think video is scary. And I actually think many, especially the litigators, you go before judges. Like you can literally be held in contempt and you're worried about putting a video on LinkedIn, like talking about your services. That's the part to me that is a little baffling. I think that more lawyers would actually perform better on video and have really strong following if they would show up and create video. I don't think video is necessarily easy to produce in the sense that it needs to be edited and things like that. But I think if lawyers actually film the content, they would get some great results because they have real insight to share. And many of, especially the litigators, can share some great stories that I think would perform well.
All right. This says one AI, but I'm going to say just anything. A marketing myth that needs to die.
Marketing myth that needs to die. Ooh.
That people care about you winning super lawyer.
Well, that matters. I think that, but I think.
Sorry, I love our super lawyers, and I'm very proud of them. So.
I think bigger than that, it's that I don't believe legal is going anywhere because of AI. Like, I think legal will still be around because of AI. And I hear a lot of people saying, like, legal's about to get disrupted, my brother included. He loves to tell me that. And I'm like, what did you grok today that you think now that legal is going to be disrupted? Like, literally, he has an AmLaw, like, top 10 firm on his retainer, and he's grokking legal advice. And I'm like, why? Like, you know how much, like, you could get into so much, like, legal problems with that. Like, that legal is not going to be disrupted, I think, in that way by AI. I think that there's a lot of data that the law firms have that they could leverage in different ways that it's going to make them more valuable and more powerful actually in the future. So that's my stance.
All right. Worst AI
one
generated
more,
content. Okay. Oh, okay. Then I want to do this last one then.
Okay.
The AI feature you're most excited for in 2025.
AI agents. Well, they're already here, but we're building tons of them in our agency. And I'm excited about the opportunity of having AI agents run more of some of the internal processes that I hate doing. So it's more for my own and also for law firms. I know in marketing departments, there's lots of inefficiency, and that some AI agents, especially around like chamber submissions and things like that, could really change workflows for marketing departments and make their lives much easier. So I'm excited about that.
It's a good one. I like that.
Yep.
All right, Amanda, move to our last segment. This is your segment. It always has been your segment.
It always
so
has
go
been.
ahead.
Yes. Okay. So, Jessica, you've been an amazing guest. I think we could sit here and just talk about this forever. I have Rob has drafted a million different questions, but we're almost out of time. So our final segment on this show is called Pitch Your Passion. And this is your time to talk to us about something you're passionate about. It can be your company. It can be, we didn't talk about LMA at all. So we need to throw that in at some point, but really this is your time. So pitch something you're passionate about to us.
I am really passionate about AI and marketing, especially. In November, my co-founder and I of Martech Mindshare are hosting a Martech Mindshare event where we are inviting basically directors, CMOs to come join us in a conversation about learning deeper about what AI enablement in teams looks like, what those workflows look like, how to build AI agents. We're going to build an AI agent together, which I'm really excited about. We're going to have a whole workshop. And so I really think AI has the opportunity to really allow legal marketers to be in a more strategic position within law firms, be valued more. And so I hope more will embrace AI and learn the skills to prompt better, learn the skills to slice and dice data better, embrace context prompting, embrace AI agents, and just be better marketers for it. So I'm on the Legal Marketing Association board. I'm always advocating for legal marketers, especially as a former lawyer. I see the disconnect between the lawyers and business professionals. Yes. And it still bothers me. It bothers me, and it will continue to bother me, I think, until there's more equity there and there's more appreciation and more back and forth, more collaboration. So I just see a huge opportunity for marketers to really kind of transform their roles in the future with AI. And I'm hoping that will come to fruition. So if anyone wants to learn context prompting, wants to learn how they can better understand their systems and data to be better, more savvy marketers, come join Martech Mindshare. It's happening in November 19th.
We'll drop that into our show notes if you have a landing page for those that want to join. But Jessica, thanks for joining us today. It was a lot of fun and it was a great conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Mostly Legal podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
Stay tuned as we uncover more behind-the-scenes stories of law firms with the best minds in the business. And Rob.
Thanks.